These are the drawings of a 5.5-year-old girl who was raped. That was the first case in the practice of psychologist Lilia Shakalova 40 years ago. Back then, their rehabilitation lasted about a month. Later, the child coped with the trauma. The crime was caused by lust on the part of a drunken rapist. But rape during the war is a completely different story.
This is a desire to prove something, a desire to feel the strength for a vile little man who does not know how to show his strength against another strong person.
The psychologist starts telling her story about the girl she is treating now with tears in her eyes.
I thought I don't cry anymore.
Her patients are two girls from Bucha, 9 and 11 years old. They were raped by Russian soldiers.
She tells me he was so heavy I couldn't do anything. I screamed and he pressed me down like that with his hand. I say, "How did you feel?" I was very hurt, scared and could not breathe. He apparently pressed her down very hard. Then I was very hurt and there was a lot of blood. I wiped the blood with my hands and some woman hugged me and held me tight.
This rape took place in the basement of a multi-story building in which the girl with her mother and other women were hiding from the bombing. At that moment, the mother of the child went out to get water and did not see the horror. The child's dad is fighting at the front, and the mother has not yet been able to tell him what happened.
Mom says she barged in, says she didn't know what to do. Women showed her like this, quieter, but she wanted to scream from helplessness.
The second girl, aged 11, was raped in front of her mother. They lived in a private house in Bucha where Russian soldiers broke into. The girl is suspected of being pregnant. She is under the supervision of a gynecologist.
There is a sense of guilt there, that she could have run away. I said, no, you couldn't have.
Since the beginning of the war, 10 women and children raped by Russian soldiers called the telephone hotline of the public organization La Strada.
We received the first call about rape by Russian occupiers on March 4th this year. It was a woman from Kherson. She said that she, along with her 17-year-old daughter, suffered from a gang rape. The daughter saw how her mother was raped, and her mother saw how her daughter was raped.
La Strada provides psychological and legal assistance to affected women. It is possible on behalf of the victims to contact the Prosecutor General's office, the National Police, the court in The Hague, so that the criminal is held accountable. But the victims are afraid of publicity and rarely cooperate with law enforcement officers.
We have the first result. In one of the proceedings, there is a suspect. He has been declared suspected in absentia and is wanted. This result is obtained due to normal dialogue cooperation with the victim. She was able to name the offender, whom we managed to find on social media.
Rape during the war falls under Article 438 of the Criminal Code of Ukraine. It provides for up to 13 years in prison. War crimes do not have a statute of limitations. As the history of the Yugoslav and Chechen wars, the genocide in Rwanda show that years later, through the UN International Tribunal, the criminals received their well-deserved punishment. For this, the victims must decide to tell everything. Reported by Marina Stepanenko, Daria Veroshilenko, UATV News.